Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the person I want to slap in the face for mimicking me. The joy of EXP Cast and my favorite Xbox co-host on the Citadel.
You're not supposed to look at me. You know that when you're doing
I'm looking at the camera, and for me to look like I'm looking at you when we're talking, I have that little tiny Skype box, when you have another window open, right under my camera, so it looks like I'm talking to you when I'm talking to you.
I actually have the same way too. so the camera's right here, and you're right there.
Yep.
So
yeah. So thanks.
I'm sorry.
Stoy. It's all right. Stephanie did that to me like a month ago, and it really distracted me. So
what? She imitated you too?
Yeah.
Why do people make fun of you like this?
I don't know.
We shouldn't.
It wasn't that. I started the countdown to lead off the show, and then she started after I hit 2, she was like 3, 2, and she started counting down.
Okay. That's not cool. Come on. There's always got to be a countdown for everything. I was just on the Gaming Outsider podcast. I was just on a special episode, and Scott, the guy that runs it, I've known him for years, but he has a very particular way that he does his countdown.
Yeah.
So he syncs video with audio. So he's like, when I say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm supposed to count out loud with his fingers.
Oh.
So it doesn't matter if he says 5. If there's a slight delay, I have to go with the fingers. And I'm like, I can't do that.
That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
I just record our audio through Skype. I've been wanting to use Zencastr, but I've been too lazy to set it up. I know it is. Yeah. I want to use it. I just haven't.
We used it a couple weeks ago. Us EXP Cast guys, we used it a couple weeks ago to record video and audio, and the video came out pretty good because Josh and I did a retro pickups episode. And
I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah, because that was a Patreon episode for a couple weeks, and then so nice. Yeah, we did a game hunting trip yesterday. We went up to I feel bad because we didn't let Jesse know because we were up in his area, and we got up there, and I was like, oh man, I realized way too late, when we were about ready to leave, that you probably should have let him know. So sorry, Jesse.
It's
sorry.
Okay. It's okay. But he's gonna come on the show next week.
All right, cool.
He texted me, and I was a jerk, and two times in a row he texted me, and I never texted him back. I did see them.
You're one of those.
No, here's the thing.
You even read it?
I read it. I read it,
respond?
and I was holding my son, and I was like, I'll answer him in a minute, and then something happened, and then I just forgot. So I'm sorry, Jesse. Sounds like a lame excuse, but that's all I got. I get it.
That's fine.
But I heard you. I read your message. We're excited to have you back.
Yep, it'll be good.
So yeah.
But yeah, we ended up. Zencastr works really well, man. I don't know. I mean, I think we're gonna if we stream, I think we're gonna use that exclusively. Yeah.
I think we used it for the direct recap show for Pow Block the other day. Ed and I did a direct recap show. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice. It cleans everything up, and it's just so nice. Zencastr is very nice. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, Zencastr.
It's totally free.
Yeah. I'm gonna set up a Boss Rush account for Zencastr this week because Monday, Tuesday we're not recording anything. So I'm gonna try to get some work done. So back end stuff that nobody will probably ever see, but it'll make everything better. So
yep.
Also got to work on some website stuff that I have not worked on in a hot minute. So it's the next 2 days.
But so you got to tell me why you dislocated your toe.
Oh yeah. So my son started crawling, and he was crawling away, so I went to go grab him, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I stepped on one of his toys. It's like one of those doctor's office toys with the swirly tubes and then the shapes that go around, You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I stepped on it, and then I couldn't catch myself, and then I took a step, and I stepped on the toy again with the same foot, and then my other foot hit our coffee table, and my toe, went sideways because my toes went up, like part of my toes hit the ground and the other toe went up against the bar of the coffee table, and then I caught myself on the coffee table, and like I kind of like I didn't drop my son, but it was more of like a dramatic kind of, he fell a little bit. And like, I mean, it wasn't like a 10 feet fall, it was like a 6-inch fall, but like I was trying to like not crush him either, and so like my toe, like I crushed, like the way I kind of like landed on my wrist, I landed like this, so like my wrist really hurts, and then my toe
I'm trying
sideways.
to visually imagine this, and it's just like, you know, it's like that Seinfeld skit. I remember that Seinfeld skit.
I've never
like,
watched Seinfeld.
Okay, I've watched like a couple episodes, but there was one video about like, or one clip of the episode about how Kramer and Newman or something like that got spit on, and like the way they're describing it and the way Seinfeld is interpreting it is like, I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, it sounds like you've just kind of crumpled yourself up into a ball, completely dislocate your left hip to hit the coffee table, and then you did a 180-degree flip with your upper torso, landing sideways on the. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and so like I've been pretty messed up the whole day, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, my head hurt. I don't know if I hit my head or not. Like it all happened like so fast, and so like I was more concerned to like, well, first my foot really hurt, and I had to like pull my toe out and like almost like reattach it, which is gross because I've done that to a finger before, but never a toe. For some reason, the toe is grosser than the finger. I don't know why, but so like,
well, because it's not like you dislocate your toes that often. I guess you would more, especially for you playing football, you're more likely to dislocate your finger.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. What do you call that?
Like your right? What's wrong with your right?
My pinkies, they're like, they don't. Oh yeah, they don't go in the same position.
I see what you're talking about. I guess Okay.
For you audio listeners, that was very good visual for you audio listeners.
Well, you know, if our audio listeners would like, they could tune in on Twitch every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Hey, that's true. Thank you, Stoy, for plugging that.
No problem. Hey, by the way, here's a theory that maybe our Nintendo fans can. Do you think Nintendo's working some subliminal messaging into our brains every time they have an audible snap in their Nintendo Directs?
Maybe. Why?
Because you know how Nintendo fans get excited over remakes of games that came out 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, do they snap, and then does it send a subliminal message to your brain to say, you want this, you want this, you want this? Because they got me. They got me with Portal, and they got me with Chrono Cross. And I'm like, that's amazing.
Chrono Cross is worth it.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely worth it. I mean, that's more deserving of a remake than any of those other games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I know a lot of people don't care for it, but I'm like, I'm in. Plus they have that Satellaview.
No one knew that existed.
I know, but it's cool that they're including it. Like, it was like the third game in the series, which
it was a prequel. Yeah,
it was like a text adventure that took place between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross that nobody ever played because it was on Satellaview in Japan only. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Like 12 people played it?
Yeah, probably.
But
anyway, I guess that's just my theory.
Yeah. So it was that was my day, and so like, gosh, my toe, like even my toe still hurts. I have like all this padding and some socks and some slippers on right now to try to keep it from moving too much, and yeah, good times.
Great times.
Did you watch? Did you watch the Direct, by the way? Speaking of,
yes, I did. Yeah,
there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm at home obviously most of the time because I'm in school now. So so I was obviously at home and I watched it. I mean, it comes on at 4, so I'm usually home anyway, even if I'm working. But yeah, no, it was actually a really good Direct. Like, it's about freaking time Nintendo started kind of like showing some stuff. Like,
the last couple years of Nintendo just kind of been like a, I mean, I'm not an Animal Crossing guy, not a Paper Mario guy. What was last year? Or like Age of Calamity. I'm not like a Muso guy, but I played it because it's Breath of the Wild. You know?
Right? Yeah. 3D World, Mario 3D World. Yep. I mean, that was kind of cool.
But it's a port. I mean.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. And that's kind of been part of the problem with Nintendo the last couple of years is like ports. of Wii U games that it's like admittedly no one played because no one had a Wii U.
I have one. It's still hooked up.
I do too, actually. It's still hooked up as well.
Super Mario 3D World, best 3D Mario game. Now
Honestly, yeah,
better.
I totally agree. Totally agree with that.
Now even better because they sped up the mechanics and made it feel faster, so it feels better. So.
No, yeah, honestly, it's probably one of my favorite co-op experiences in any video game out there.
I don't have any friends, so I don't play a co-op. I played it by myself.
That's a shame, Corey.
I know.
That's a shame.
But there's a few things in there that I got excited for, except for Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which I was really excited because it said Fire Emblem, and then it said they did that delay where it was Warriors, and I was like, oh my gosh, don't.
You see this number that I'm holding up right
2,
now?
yes.
I could give 2 shits about Fire Emblem. I've tried so many times to play Fire Emblem, just cannot get into it.
See,
it's a waifu simulator.
No, it's not.
And I want Eddie, I want Dan, I want David Lasby, I want anybody to come on this podcast. This is for all you Elite Beat block agents or whatever Eddie calls you. Get on this podcast and convince me that Fire Emblem is not a waifu or a husbando simulator.
It's not. It's really not.
Believe you. I don't believe
really
you.
not.
I hear there's some like war mechanics too and some real-time strategy elements. I don't know.
You partner people with specific people to get better. You basically just breeding
teachers
warriors.
Are banging their students. You guys are like cool with this?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. No, that's fine. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into, I guess.
So as long as it's Fire Emblem.
I mean, honestly, it's a good like obviously Nintendo needs some serious franchises, like serious tone franchises. So that's a good franchise for them to have underneath their belt. It's just not for me.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's not for everybody. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those series that's like, you either get it or you don't. I feel like.
Yeah.
It's not like other strategy games. Like, it has that element of like, what you just said, and it's not for everybody.
No, and I don't. I mean, that genre of games, I'm not really. I don't play that much.
Well, this isn't a good year for Switch for you then, because there's about 12 of them.
Yeah, I'm not into XCOM games. I'm not into. I never played the Halo Wars games because those really aren't my. Like I said, I've tried with Birthright. I think I got that for the 3DS at the time, and then I think I have one of the Switch titles that I tried as well. And just I just couldn't get into it. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's fair. I'm excited for Xenoblade 3. I'm excited for Mario Kart DLC. A lot of people are excited for Mario Strikers. There's a lot. There's a lot in this direct. So
yeah.
I mean, I'll probably play Mario Strikers.
Admittedly, I like the way Nintendo does it, kind of, because we spend months and months wondering what the hell Nintendo's doing. And they don't say anything. They keep everything very close to the belt. And everything that they do announce, they say this is coming out in a few months. So they announce things when it's good and ready.
Yeah. They didn't announce anything that was coming out before. Like, I think the latest is December. Or September, I mean, with
September,
Xenoblade.
Yeah, with Xenoblade, yeah. I mean, with the exception of maybe Front Mission 2, that they said they announced it's coming at a later date, but...
Yeah, they didn't really show it though. They just said it was coming, right? Because they showed the first one, which is cool. I'm excited for Front Mission. Yeah,
that's same with me. I don't really care about that either.
So yeah, I mean they've got a pretty stacked lineup this year. They have Triangle Strategy coming in March, Kirby coming in March, Mario Kart 8 DLC.
I'm telling you, man,
Wii Sports 2, pretty much.
2022 is going to blow 2021 out of the water.
It is. Nintendo
2021
Switch
was a shit. Was a shit year for video games.
Wii Sports, man.
Yeah.
Coming back. So excited. That was like the best thing I saw the whole direct.
Right, yeah.
Mario Strikers, Fire Emblem Warriors, Klonoa, Splatoon 3, Monster Hunter, Sunbreak. They've got a stacked year. Xenoblade, Bayonetta 3, Breath of the Wild 2, Mario Rabbids 2. So they've got a big year, and then they've got a bunch of indies and third parties and all that stuff. Advance Wars. So
yeah.
Any hoozle. We're not here to talk about Nintendo.
Anyway, this is an Xbox podcast.
It sure is. You know which Xbox podcast? Arsenal X,
Microsoft?
the Xbox podcast. part of the Boss Rush Network. You can catch us live every Sunday night on Twitch or on podcast services and YouTube on Tuesday mornings. If you listen on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us out with discoverability, especially since, a lot of people are disappointed that we are not a soccer podcast, apparently. You can check out all of our shows and our content on bossrush.net, our website. You can check out Stoy on EXPcast. We should probably throw that in at the top of the show at some point.
This is the Arsenal X podcast, so
it is, but we do other things.
Mm-hmm. We all have other projects.
Yeah. By the way, I started promoting EXPcast through Boss Rush social media as well this week.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw that. Or this week for scheduling?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So there should be a post going up on social media on Monday and Thursday when your episodes go out.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah. The magic of Buffer, you can pre-schedule things and not forget people. So.
Yeah. Because the computer remembers.
Yeah. It always remembers.
That's why, honestly, when you're, it's like you need like full-time staffers, like to run, like you need one person to run social media. You need one person to do audio visual. You need, there's like even like at the EXPcast, we tried running Headliner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like where they clip audio clips of your episodes,
mm-hmm.
and then you could like share it on social media, and then like people can listen to like 20-second clips
mm-hmm.
of episodes or funny parts, but that requires extra work because then you got to go back and you got to listen to that. Oh, there was that one really funny part, and then like you clip it and then you share it, and it's just it's a lot of work, man.
It is, and it makes me feel like if we only had like 1 or 2 products instead of 7, we would be probably a lot more efficient at the rest of it. That's my fault, though.
That's what happens when you try to kind of spread everything out, and
I'm a dreamer. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer.
You got to keep going, man.
Gotta live the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump into what we've been playing in weekly pickups, Stoy. By the way, buy our merch on the Boss Rush store. That's all I'm saying this time.
Nice.
I
played Sifu.
Ooh.
And I've been playing that quite a bit, and I'm not a patient person when it comes to playing games anymore. I feel like I'm kind of losing my patience as I get older. And if you follow the EXPcast, we're actually going to have a topic about this week, because I kind of started to learn that, okay, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, I'm really scared about, even though I really want to play it, but I'm scared. I'm a little bitch when it comes to these kind of hard games, where I'm like, it's too hard, I don't want to play it anymore, and then I go run away and hide in a corner and go play Mass Effect or some bullshit. Anyway, when I said that out loud in the episode, everybody laughed at me, and then like, yeah, sounds about right. my guys know me too well, but I really love Sifu because the mechanics are so tight and so good, but the game has those random bullshit moments that F you in the A really hard. And it's like, it frustrates you because you could be doing so well. And the game is centered around like martial arts combat. The martial arts combat is actually really tight, really good. Countering, blocking, even dodging is so cool. You can kind of parry, obviously, as well. And, initiate combos. Apparently I can't land a roundhouse kick to save my life, but whatever. So maybe I don't know. Like, it's hard. Like, it seems like every time, maybe Stephanie's been playing this game a lot. Maybe Stephanie can explain to me why I can't land a roundhouse kick. Yeah. I don't understand. But
she's a martial artist though, so she probably could.
I would assume she could.
You're just a beer drinking soccer coach now. Okay.
I'm just a bitch. That's what I am. So, yeah, but the game is really good. A lot of good odes to kind of martial arts movies like Old Boy, and I think there was some other martial arts movies. I misreferenced one of the scenes. I thought it came straight from Daredevil. I don't know if you saw like the first season when he just became Daredevil and he had that one long fight sequence down a hallway.
Yeah, it was the best scene in the whole show.
Well, yeah, one of the best scenes I think in Marvel history, me personally. But yeah, those are going to be leaving Netflix soon. So
I know.
if you want to get them watching Luke Cage and Daredevil and Iron Fist, I guess.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is the other one. I think is the Punisher still staying on there?
Nope, it's leaving too.
Nope, that's the better one too.
I hear they're moving to Disney Plus. Disney Plus is with Moon Knight coming. I hear the rumor is that they're gonna have an adult section.
I really hope so because
they want to bring Deadpool and Alien and like all the Fox properties that they can't show on Disney Plus. At some point in the next 12 to 18 months, they're probably going to merge Hulu and Disney Plus into one service.
That'd actually be nice.
Yeah. And ESPN Plus. All in like one service.
Well, I had that subscription package.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's three different apps.
It's 3 different apps.
They're going to put it all into one app.
Oh, God. That's too much, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice, but...
Yeah.
So, but yeah, otherwise, going back to Sifu, it's really good, but like, there's those like random bullshit moments where like you kind of like mistime things, and then all of a sudden you get your ass kicked, and every time you die, you get older.
Yeah.
And the more times you die at a stage, the older you get. So like if you die once, you go up 1 year. But then if you die a second time in that same stage, you go up by 2 years. And then it keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. And I think that my first playthrough, I didn't finish the second area. I got to the club, and I got to 75, which was the max age. And the older you get, every decade you get older because you start at 20. Every decade you get older. You get stronger. You get more damage output, but you drop a little bit of health, like max health. So risk reward kind of thing. But it's one of those things. I've been kind of replaying levels over and over and over again. So like if I die too soon, I restart and I keep going again. And if I die, I just restart and I keep going. I restart, I keep going until I kind of master it. And it's kind of like, psychotic in a way of just like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, And sometimes I get a little further. Sometimes I die a little bit too soon, and then I restart going over and over again. And for me, honestly, that's fun. Like, I'm having a good time with that. If I don't beat this game, which I highly doubt I will have the patience for, I think I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I've used the photo mode more times in this game than I think I ever have in any game with a photo mode ever. I've got some good pictures, man.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool, it's stylish game. Yeah,
it really is.
I see a lot.
Otherwise, a lot of people are getting into this.
Yeah. Time exclusive. It'll make its way to Xbox at some point, I think, right?
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be a straight to Game Pass thing.
I bet they're already working on that. It feels like a game that would fit right at home on Game Pass at some point.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, on the Xbox side, I've been playing Edge of Eternity, that RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Came out on Game Pass last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good game. Like it's fine. Like it does what it needs to do. It's a very small studio that have been working on it for years, and they had the goal of making a Final Fantasy like game, almost in the modern era. So thinking like massive open world sections where you're just roaming around these massive open areas, populated with enemies, populated with tall grass, trees, plants, towns and cities scattered around all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty ambitious for a small studio. Like you think you're expecting a game like this coming out of like a Square Enix type studio or whatever, but
right. I mean, you think about it, like that game for like 3 or 4 years was being developed by one guy. Yeah. And then he got funding for it and hired I think 8 people, 12 people, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely tell it's been made by a small studio because the art looks good, but it's like the mechanics, it's run on the Unity engine. Like the mechanics look so basic. Like, say when you're walking through towns, for example, like characters don't really like move or have interactions or anything. Like, or even sometimes when you're talking to them, they don't emote.
Mm-hmm.
But the game still has a good story, even though it's kind of slow to start. I'm like 8 hours in, and I really still don't know what the grand, story is.
Yeah.
I kind of have hints of what happens in the first hour.
Yeah.
Because like it, in the first part of the game, right? You're part of this. Your name is Darian, and you're part of this kind of like army, and this group of space people like kind of invades your planet, but like says, hey, we have all this great technology, we want to share with you, we want to kind of coexist. So everybody on the planet's like, hey, cool, you guys are cool aliens. And then all of a sudden they do a reverse. Aliens. They do a reverse, like, nah, we're not, not anymore. Nah, we're gonna fuck you up. So like, they start kind of killing people and destroying people, and you're part of a military platoon going against these guys, and it's like you and everybody has like still like medieval weapons like swords, blades. I think there's like magic and mages and stuff like that here. You also have like you're in a camp and you have a team of like 3 of your friends, like one guy and then 2 other girls who have like different specialties, and all of a sudden like you're like, hey, wow, this is going to be my party for the whole game. Nope, you gotta get wiped out immediately, and you're like, oh man, that sucks. But yeah, so like the first half hour, 45 minutes doesn't get explained for the next 6 hours. Like it's kind of weird, the story pacing of it. And I guess that's my only problem with this game, because the game mechanically runs fine. Like it's turn-based combat in a grid format. So like, when you encounter like a battle, you go into a turn-based system where like, you're waiting for your turn to strike, but like you can actually move around to flank your enemies, or you can move away from your enemy to kind of get away from striking range to, land spells or whatever. So it's kind of a cool concept with the kind of standard active time battle that the old Final Fantasy games, or even like I liken this game to Last Remnant for the 360.
Okay.
So
yeah,
kind of similar in that.
I tried to play this because it's on Switch and there's a demo on Switch, and I wasn't able to get on my Xbox, so I was like, okay, well, I'll try it, and if I like it, I'll download it on Xbox. It's the cloud version. This is a cloud version on Switch.
Yeah.
And
I highly doubt the Switch can run this game.
I couldn't even get past the loading screen.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
It was not great. So,
well, the
not
interesting
recommended.
Thing is like the interesting thing,
Switch.
like the initial title screen. When you go through the initial title screens, there's a nice message from the developer to say, "Hey, thank you for supporting this game. We're a small studio, and this is our first game. Whatever." The Series X SSD runs so fast that you can't even read that message.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it like pops up for like half a second, then you're like reading it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Like, what?
I wanted to read it.
I know. Like, I wanted to like take up time to appreciate the developer making this. The developer's name is Midgar Studios, so that's a kind of an ode to Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said as much as that this was it was inspired by that game at first, at least.
Yeah. No, and honestly, like I said, is it a spectacular game? No. Is it a good game? Is it fine? Yeah. I'm having a good time with it. The battles are fun. Exploring is fun. The voice actors and actresses do a good job. I mean, it's no, they're no, Jennifer Hales or, Troy Baker's in this game, but they do fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's an ambitious game for a small team, and it's probably really good for them, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? So.
Well, yeah, you got to kind of put that into perspective, because it's like, lately in this generation, we have such high expectations that, game developers are starting to really kind of push the envelope on what they can do. And it's like almost like they're promising too much. And we're looking at, for example, Cyberpunk, or even like Dying Light 2, promising so much out of the gate, and then you find they had to backtrack a lot because they promised too much. And that's a lot what's happening with Dying Light 2 press, is like people are starting to compare like what they promised 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even graphically what it looked like. Because like a lot of people are noticing there's a downgrade in a lot of some of the earlier E3 demos that they showed.
Right, but I mean, also I'm sure that game was running on an extremely high-end PC and not the console tech, right? I mean,
well, yeah, everything we saw of Cyberpunk,
right,
pre-release was all running on a high-end PC.
God.
So
that game's supposed to come out soon too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting because I want to get back into it, but I want to play it with the upgrade. So
I know. I've been thinking about that game a lot for some reason lately, and I like kind of want to go back, but also I'm like, I already beat it. Do I need to go back? Like, I think I'm all right, but I also want to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I'll be playing it, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump in at some point.
But yeah, it's a like I said, it's a good solid game. I'm kind of, I think I've been wanting a game like this for a long time, and it's really scratching that itch because Pat, who's our RPG expert on the EXP cast, like he was like, it's all right, which is kind of surprising because I thought he would enjoy it, but he was playing like some other like RPG, like retro RPG on the Switch at the time, so I think he liked that more. But yeah, I think it's good, especially if you're kind of like a fan of like the old school like PS2, 360, PS3 era RPGs. Like,
oh yeah,
you'll love it.
I've been thinking a lot about Last Remnant, Infinite Undiscovery, and Lost Odyssey lately.
Infinite Undiscovery. Oh God, that game holds such a special place in my heart.
I mean, that game's not good, but
no, it's not. But it
existed.
It's so good though. It's not good, but it's so good. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I liked most about that game is just the voice acting.
It was
some of the best. It was something. Yeah. I'll do anything for you. Anything. What was the other one? Eternal Sonata.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Blue Dragon. There's a lot of JRPGs on the 360 that just
Lost Odyssey was the biggest one for me.
Lost Odyssey was the best one. God, I want a sequel to that game so bad.
Yeah, I do too.
And they're too busy making diorama iPhone games.
Mobile games.
Who owns that IP?
Anyway.
Does Mistwalker or does Microsoft?
I don't know. I'd be curious to look into that because
I bet you could find someone to make a sequel to that game.
Yeah. There's a lot of, there's a lot of games that it's like I kind of wish, and I suppose we can talk about that in our end show topic, but I just wish developers and publishers could focus more on other things besides acquiring studios. But anyway,
you're funny, Stoy. You're
last
funny.
thing I'm doing. I know.
Don't worry. We're recording this on Sunday, and this comes out on Tuesday. Remember that always happens on Monday. Someone gets acquired on Mondays.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And they drop it on Tuesday morning, and then all of a sudden we all freak out, or like we say this is all that's coming out to Game Pass this week, and all of a sudden, bam, 8 games get announced.
Yeah.
The last thing I do want to mention is that I'm working on building another MAME cabinet again, and trying to. It takes a long time if you want to do this yourself. It takes a very long time to get it done right. If you want to do it yourself, you could do it yourself. You could do it for free. You could do it even on the cheap, as long as you have a good running PC. And there's software out there that you could download that's totally free. There's ROMs out there that you could download totally free. You got to do some hunting, but it's totally possible. It's just it just takes a long time to get it done right, and that's what I'm kind of encountering. Like I want it to look cool. I want it to look good. At least the user interface. When I build the cabinet, I'm not worried about that. But
yeah.
I'm going to talk about that some more, I think, in the future because I'm going to be working on it a lot.
Cool. That's exciting.
That's what I've been doing.
Cool. Speaking of cool games, Stoy, I finally started Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Been talking about it for like 6 months. I started. Got through Eden Prime. What a slog. I forgot Eden Prime was. Dude, that opening level is so much longer than I remember.
Yeah.
And it stops like every 5 feet to get either Jenkins dies.
Yeah, right.
Or Ashley's running away. Mm-hmm. Or, you watch the cutscene where, Nihilus and Saren are meeting up.
Yeah. You talked to the guy that was hiding behind a box.
Yeah.
It was basically the guy that fingered, Saren the whole time.
Yeah. Or the creepy assistant guy in the box, like the box car, where they're hiding.
He was the one that predicted the Reapers.
He did.
Yeah, he was the OG. He was the first one. We should have listened to him.
Should have listened to him. Guess who didn't listen? Yep. Guess who
Council?
still didn't listen at the beginning of Mass Effect 3?
The Council, the Admiralty Board for the whole human race.
Yeah.
And they're like, how much time we have? Man, we don't have time.
Yeah.
We had time 10 years ago.
Our building is literally blowing up, and you're asking us how much time we have? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
What can we do? Nothing.
Run.
Run. Yeah, I think I remember that scene because they're like, what should we do? And like, it's
as
one
the,
of those
as the
things, like, you
Reaper's
just
coming
wish...
down into London and like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, that thing.
I
is
just
real.
really wanted the option. I really want the Dragon Age 2 did the sarcasm option very well.
Yeah.
And I love playing Dragon Age 2 as a sarcastic hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wish Mass Effect had a sarcasm response because, man, I would be like, I can imagine like the sarcastic response, like, what should we do? And then have him just go, rubbing his eyes like, let me tell you.
Did we not talk about this already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about this for 5 years.
God. Man. By the way, I probably spent like most of the time designing my Shepard because I refuse to use the default Shepard.
Hell yeah.
And every time there's something I'm like it always looks different in the character creator than when you go into the game and it's like, oh man, should have probably changed that.
Yeah, sometimes I wish you could actually change it, like mid-game.
Yeah. Don't worry, I can change it in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, you can, yeah. It's nice because with the Legendary Edition, you can actually transfer that literal same model.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good. Good. So I've been playing that. I'm like kind of dreading the Citadel because I remember Eden Prime being shorter, but like I remember it kind of sucking, but also like it being a lot shorter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the Citadel's going to take me like 3 hours.
Yes, you're going to be in the Citadel for quite a while.
So I'm it's all right. No shows recording the next 2 days, so guess I'll get that done.
All right, there we go.
Man. But I do have to say, Mass Effect 1, this version of Mass Effect 1 feels way better. It plays like Mass Effect 2 and 3. Well, I mean, like what I remember them playing. Like, still has that like weird RPG kind of like hit detection system, but at least it feels like I'm shooting them. So
yeah, it feels accurate instead of just like I think my bullets are landing.
Yeah, I picked Vanguard. So
okay.
Which was, I don't know if I should have picked Vanguard or not. I probably should have just picked Soldier, but I was like, I play a Soldier all the time. I'm going to switch it up. I want to throw people and snipe them in the air.
Mm-hmm. You did say that. Yeah.
Haven't done that yet.
Well, you haven't unlocked the ability yet.
I know. I will, though. I will. Also, I'm trying to figure out who, I'm already prepping on who I'm going to save at the end of, like, on, what is it, Vermeer?
Yeah.
At the end, or not at the end, but like where you have to choose who stays and who leaves. Still trying to figure that out. I hate Caden, but I also know Ashley's kind of a space racist.
Yeah, right.
But
they really like, they make it hard because they they don't make either one likable.
I know.
So it's almost like to the point where it's like, which one do you hate the most?
Yeah, it's Caden because he's also Karth in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, yeah.
That voice actor. And I already spent like 40 hours with that dude in that game. And then already spent like 2 playthroughs with him in Mass Effect. I'm like, I can't. But also, I feel like if I left Ashley alive and I had made it known to the internet, I'd be canceled. So.
No. Because you know what? You would see the good in people, right? Because that's what matters to all these people, right?
Yeah.
You see the good in people underneath.
Yeah. And I saved her the first time I played Mass Effect, and like she has a redemption arc in Mass Effect 3. So
she does.
Obviously,
yeah. She does come around.
I mean, it's just God, the internet, man.
Well, even like Navigator Presley, like in Mass Effect 1, man, he's like all out about like, why do we have these aliens on board a human ship? Get these aliens off our damn ship.
Yeah.
Like he's not shy about it. But like when you're reading the journal entries in 2, when you discover the remnants of the Normandy,
yeah,
like it's like, oh man, he was actually coming around.
Yeah. Man, the opening of Mass Effect 2. Can we just talk about how good that is for a second?
Oh, yeah, we could talk about as much as you want.
Just that opening, like where like you're running through the ship and like, well, for me it was Liara because I romanced her, and you just like you get blasted out into space, and then you realize like your oxygen is leaking, and you're like,
yeah,
and then you wake up in the Cerberus lab, and then you got to talk to Jacob, who's the worst character, and you're like, oh my god. I think it's Miranda.
Why do people hate Jacob so much? I really don't understand.
I don't like it. I don't know. I try to talk to him the least amount of everybody in that game. I don't know if I necessarily like him or don't dislike him. I just never went out of my way to talk to him.
That is true. He lacks in personality because he's all business.
Mm-hmm.
He's a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, just tell me where to shoot, tell me how to jump, tell me when to jump. Like, I'll do it. Like, he follows orders like to the max. And
yeah.
You know, even Miranda makes fun of him.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Plus, I think BioWare was actively wanting you to talk to Miranda. You know, camera shots and just her skin tight bodysuit, and you know.
Well, hey man, she was designed to be perfect.
Yeah.
In every way.
It's true.
And I think a lot of people missed the mark on that. On the storytelling aspect of what Miranda is,
mm-hmm.
and how the game was trying to tell you that.
Yep.
Whatever.
It's fine. It's all fine. So also I dabbled in Pokemon Legends Arceus was the other game I dabbled in, and they got me. I don't know if I like it. I don't think I do. But I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep pushing through. And I've also been playing more Metroid Dread because I would like to finish that game soon.
Did you drop it down to rookie mode?
No. I thought about it, but I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I have thought about it though.
Yeah.
Because I just want to play it. I just want to beat it. You know, I just want to be like, I finished it, and I'm proud of myself.
I may do that. I mean, I've gotten a good ways away, and I do want to just finish it.
Yeah.
So
I might do that. You can do that mid-game, right? You can just drop it down mid-game, right?
I don't know, actually.
I have my Switch right in front of me. I guess I could just look, but, you know. Also, I was in the store looking for good deals, even though I just picked up a couple things and probably shouldn't spend any more money, but that's okay.
That Nintendo Switch eShop is just filled with stuff.
I know. Inside is $1.99 right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Inside and Limbo are both $1.99. You can get them both for $3.50 in a bundle, as they say.
Both are good, solid games.
They are. They sure are. But I picked up a couple things. I picked up Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem Warriors physically to add to my collection. I also got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition physically. So I'm like, cool. Let's just add it. Just shove it in there on that shelf. You know?
Yeah. I actually picked up a Dreamcast over the weekend.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I have a Japanese Dreamcast, but it can only play Japanese games because I got that from a friend of mine. And so I have an American Dreamcast right now that plays American games. And I was playing Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, how's that?
That game is so good. It looks so trash on my HD TV, but it's still like, you know, I don't know. It looks good. Like I'm trying to kind of transport myself back to when I first played it and how it looked. And I'm letting my memory fill in the gaps, but I think it still looks good. It looks fine.
That's good. It's good. I need to get another controller for my Dreamcast. I had 3.
Do you want me to send you one?
Why how many do you have?
I have like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh. I mean,
well, actually 4. I mounted one. So
called it a mountie. I mean, I guess so. I mean,
sure.
I don't need it like right now, but
okay. Well,
it's just something I was thinking about.
We'll be in touch. If you want it, just let me know. Just say the word. I'll send it to you.
Word.
Okay. You want me to send it to you now?
Yes, I want you to pause the podcast and send it to me right now.
All right. I guess I got a small box.
Man. What game did you get for it besides Sonic Adventure 2?
I ended up picking up. No, I don't think I picked up anything for it because I ended up picking up a couple other like classic games. Like I ended up scooping up Tenchu. I think it's Wrath of Heaven for the Xbox, and then
Nice.
whatever the other one was for the PlayStation 2, and then I ended up picking up like Shadowgate 64 for the Nintendo 64, and
Nice.
and then Dino Crisis for the PlayStation, even though I already have it.
Ooh, Dino Crisis.
So, oops.
You should be getting those for Dreamcast, man.
Yeah, I know. It's
Except
hard to
Dreamcast
find
games
Dreamcast games now.
They're worth so much. Like
Yeah, I know.
I found a couple of Dreamcast games that like when Dreamcast was still like, I don't know, it was dead, but it wasn't like, retro or anything.
Right.
And like the local stores around here would just have Dreamcast games for like $3 to $5 a piece, and I would just pick them all up. And I picked up this game called Ill Bleed.
Dude, you know how much that game is worth now?
I know, I just sold it.
You sold it?
Yeah.
How much did you sell it for?
I sold it complete in box for $165
Oh, it's worth. When did you sell it?
about a year ago.
Okay, it's
I know
worth
it's
double
worth
that now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I also have Blue Stinger, which is not as expensive as that, but it's getting up there.
Yeah, I
they're
think
set in-
right now I'm looking at it. It's like $40.
Yeah, it's set in the same universe. So
Mhm.
there's like 3 games set in the same universe. It's Blue Stinger, Ill Bleed, and then there's something else. I forget what it is.
Yeah, actually, Sonic Adventure 2 is worth $110 now.
Ooh, I should get rid of mine.
Wow. And I think I have 2 copies of that for some reason.
Ooh.
I mean, it depends. Like, actually, Mortal Kombat Gold is $70. Grandia 2 is $50.
You should look up the Resident Evil games. I know Code Veronica for Dreamcast is worth a lot. It used to be, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that for PlayStation 2. I never picked it up for the Dreamcast. So, yeah, let me look it up.
Yeah, Dreamcast games are starting to be worth a ton of money.
Yeah, actually, Sega Saturn games are worth a ton of money, but I think more so it's because of the cases.
Right.
Because the cases just empty are worth $50.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, like, if you find any Saturn sports games, you should just scoop them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that.
Oh.
I thought about
Code Veronica for Dreamcast actually isn't as much as I thought. It's $45.
Oh, really? That used to be like close to 100. My cousin and I used to go like eBay, like we would specifically go out and hunt for games to sell on eBay, and Dreamcast games, especially Resident Evil ones, were always up there. One of them is worth a ton. Maybe it's 2. I don't know which one. I thought it was Code Veronica. Maybe it's 2. Maybe the prices have just changed since then, because this was like years ago.
They change quite often. Like it's kind of crazy how things can skyrocket, and it's all depending on like what big YouTuber is talking about on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things Josh and I always make fun of it, because it's like if Metal Jesus holds up a game and says, "Hey, I have this game for my Nintendo. It's kind of an underrated classic, but and no one's played it, but it's still a good game." Immediately the price jumps, doubles, if not triples.
Yeah. Yeah. We should start doing that. Like faking that. Well, I played Bayou Billy on the NES, and it's an okay game.
Hey, you guys remember Hogan's Alley? Yeah, it's like totally worth your time. Like it's worth it's an underrated classic, and watch the prices jump.
Tom Sawyer's Island? Yeah, it's kind of like Bayou Billy, and it's kind of racist, but it's still an okay game.
Yeah, it's still a good game,
Yeah.
Learn you some things.
Yeah. Learn some racist terms for Native Americans and black people that are totally in the game, by the way.
Well, that was the time, I guess. Yeah.
I know. It's so, God, I don't even.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Anyways, there's something else I got too, but I forget. I got some stuff on the Xbox sale this past week too. I ended up getting a Valkyria Revolution, which is like it's like this spin-off of Valkyria Chronicles, and it's like an RPG, and it's not very good, but I still wanted to play it because it was $5.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I was really excited because I was really into Valkyria Chronicles at the time, but then all of a sudden when that came out, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
Yeah. So, my controller is not syncing to my Xbox. That's not.
Oh
not great.
dear.
Oh no. Oh no. Now my chair's stuck under the plastic thing that it rolls on. Oh no.
I did actually. I should share it to the Discord group. But I did finally work on that piece of like reclaimed wood, that sectional wood. I stained it, varnished it, and actually super glued controllers onto it.
Nice.
And I actually am hanging it on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. So such a piece of art.
Nice. I thought about doing some shadow boxes for like games that I really loved that I own digitally or multiple copies of, or older games that like NES games. I'm never gonna pull out my NES and play it again, right? But it'd be cool to have like a shadow box of like Super Mario 2 or something.
Yeah.
All the Ninja Turtles games.
Yeah, I know. I think there's like there's a couple of people on Etsy that like take apart games or like take apart systems or whatever, and then put them in a box like a clear box. You know?
Yeah.
There's people on Etsy that do that. Yeah.
I thought about doing that with. I have 2 original Xboxes, and I thought about doing that with one of them, just like taking it apart and shadow boxing it.
Yeah. Suppose you could. Yeah, you could do it yourself too.
I could, but it's a lot of work. And children. So.
Well, you can make them do it for you.
God, yeah, right.
Right.
Sure.
Put them to work, bro.
You're what? Almost 4. It's time to get a job. Time to get a job. Speaking of jobs, let's get into the headlines. Stoy, the news. Boop, 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 boop. Google Stadia seems to be shutting down in favor of business and enterprise technology. In a recent report, the new name will be Google Stream, with Google aiming to selling the technology to companies like Peloton, Bungie, and more, which is super interesting.
That would be surprising if Bungie actually acquired it.
Well, I know they were in talks, like, because they made that huge deal that, remember, every copy of Stadia would come free with Destiny, and all the way up through Beyond Light they got for free. And Bungie's been really wanting to make Destiny accessible everywhere, even it's like a cloud version of the game on your phones and stuff, to try to do stuff. And they tried a little bit with the tech through xCloud, and then when it was removed from Game Pass, they were really heavily talking to Google about helping them develop an app with this streaming technology, because obviously Google Stadia is Google Stadia,
It's kind of a shame. I have the Google Stadia service. I should actually probably cancel my subscription. I should do that right now.
Yeah. I thought about getting it for a while. I was like, this right here is probably the future of gaming. They are just way ahead of their time.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, if Google actually really invested in the software and really invested in their first party development, I think they really could have had something with this.
Yeah. And like, also buying games a la carte for streaming probably wasn't the smartest idea either. They probably should have had some sort of, I don't know, subscription, I guess a Game Pass style thing for them, right? I think that's what Amazon's doing with Luna, right? They have like a Game Pass style service, but they also have add-on packs, right? And I think Stadia would have been much more successful if they did something like that and had a first party game at launch that people wanted to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter the tech. It's about the games, right? We talk about that about Switch a lot of the time, or any of these big behemoths, right? Like, I mean, Xbox has Halo, right? That Halo made the Xbox, and if they didn't have Halo, Xbox probably would have been dead on arrival, right?
Yeah. I mean, they, like I said, there's always that one kind of piece of software that really defines a system generation.
Yeah.
So
I'm sad to see it though. Like, I know it's been a butt of a bunch of jokes, but it was definitely a technology that was worth paying attention to, I think. And
yeah.
I mean, Game Pass and XCloud clearly kind of won that battle, at least for the time being, and at least they're looking to use the tech other places and not just abandoning it, right? So,
well, like I said, I really think it kind of boils down to just broadband access. I mean, when you think of how many people really don't have good, solid broadband access, you can't take advantage of a streaming service like this. And I mean, that's why it's been such a slow roll. Like Microsoft's got its cloud, Google's got this, which hopefully they plan on farming out to other companies that could actually do something with it. But, it's a good service, but really, I think we really have to catch up with our internet service.
Yeah. Actually, not to whatever, Sony, whatever, but I think Sony could actually probably benefit a lot from this. If they're going to try to compete with Game Pass and if whatever this Spartacus project they're working on is, like, they could definitely use something streaming wise, because PlayStation Now just kind of sucks at streaming, right? It's kind of like the big negative about that. So if they could kind of like rebundle this Spartacus package and be like PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now and everything, and have this Google streaming tech instead of Gaikai's streaming tech, which, don't get me wrong, Gaikai's was impressive at the time, but it hasn't evolved. And
no, it really hasn't.
Microsoft's service is awesome, at least. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's serviceable.
Yeah.
And
well, it's a lot more stable than Now is. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I if they want to compete with what Microsoft's doing, I think Sony should really kind of look into maybe striking a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, maybe that's what Google is setting itself up to be. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, I mean, it could work out for them.
Yeah, it would be really smart for them, and even expanding past games, right? Like Peloton, they said, is something which is like the rich people's bike service, stationary bike service. So that's we'll see. But sorry, Stadia, you just weren't meant for this world. Your controller was cool looking though. I liked their controller.
It is. It's a nice controller. It's a nice controller. I'll tell you that.
I wonder if you'll be able to use it. Like I'm sure you'll be able to plug it in and use it for XCloud and stuff, right? I'm sure. Maybe.
It's just a standard Bluetooth controller. Yeah.
Yeah. So still use it, I guess. Neat.
Yeah.
All right, Stoy, let's move on to the next story. As if you weren't surprised, there's a new Call of Duty coming this year. It has been confirmed to be Modern Warfare 2, the sequel to 2019's stellar Modern Warfare reboot. Also confirmed, though, as a big surprise, this is Warzone 2, revealed by Activision as well. This comes from our friends over at Pure Xbox. We've got some official details about plans for Call of Duty franchise in 2022, courtesy of Activision, revealing that this year's game will be a sequel to Modern Warfare, as previously reported earlier this year. To be fair, we all knew this was coming, right? Like 3 years ago when Modern Warfare was released.
Well, yeah. I mean, it set itself up for a sequel.
Yeah. So, I bought that game a couple weeks ago. I would really like to play the campaign. I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. It's probably one of the better campaigns. Infinity Ward, I think, is the more superior Call of Duty developer. I mean, they were the first. Mm-hmm. I mean, when Call of Duty first came out, they were the first on the map with, a lot of the ex-Medal of Honor devs.
Yeah, and I mean, they obviously had a little bit of a downfall when everybody that went to Respawn left, right? But they seem to be making their way back up and are still the premier. I would say that at least campaign-wise, they're the premier, and then I would say Treyarch was probably multiplayer stuff. The game will be developed by Infinity Ward and featured a brand new engine, while a new version of Warzone is also being created alongside it, also by Infinity Ward, with both games being designed from the ground up. The only other details that have been revealed for now are to, quote, expect a massive evolution of Battle Royale and all new play space and new sandbox mode. So it sounds like this is going to be a pretty hectic year for the Call of Duty franchise. This is kind of what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, right? Where we kind of see Game Pass being the home of the campaigns and Warzone being the multiplayer suite.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's smart if this is the way they're going.
Yeah.
So,
because that's what makes them money overall.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I hope they take that direction at least, where the multiplayer, like the entire multiplayer suite, not just Warzone Battle Royale, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope they take that step because.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for them to kind of lump everything together in Warzone.
Yeah.
And have it just be called that,
mm-hmm.
And then have those multiple different multiplayer, suites that they could kind of get access to. But
right, and like as the next few games come out, right, you just add it as like I want to play. Like you could uninstall Modern Warfare's multiplayer, and you could install Black Ops 7's multiplayer or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that would be the smart way to go. Or if you want to play both, like maybe it's like a Master Chief Collection type hub where. You can play any of the multiplayers anytime you want, which could also be good. Game breaking, maybe, but smart, maybe. So,
well, and that's one of the things that I'm really hoping. One of the biggest things I'm hoping with this Activision acquisition.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, Activision acquisition is them kind of stepping away from the whole yearly iteration of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're obviously still seeing Call of Duty being at the top of the charts year after year. So, they're always one of the best selling games, if not the best selling game year after year. But, people are starting to feel the fatigue and sales numbers are dropping. So that's something to still notice.
Yeah. Yeah. But also I think, what was the one where they went to space? Infinite Warfare? Was that the space
Infinite
one?
Warfare. Yeah.
I think when people's butt of every joke was like, where do they go next? Space. And then they made the space one and everybody was like, they need to reset and go to World War II. And then World War II came out and everybody was like, well, maybe we don't really want a World War II shooter from Call of Duty.
Listen, you're never going to understand the fan base because the fan base are a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of idiots that don't know what they want the next day compared to what they want in their favorite franchise. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just there's no consensus. The problem is that with such a big fan base, there's always these little like groups of people that some people say, I liked Infinite Warfare. Some people say I hated it. Some people said, well, I like World War II better than Black Ops 3 and vice versa. So,
yeah,
you know what? I make the game that you want. And if people jump on it, great. If they don't, whatever.
Yeah. I haven't played a campaign since Ghost, I think. So,
oh man, Ghost is the worst one.
I know. Well, I played the 2 that were on the Wii U. So, what was that? Black Ops 2 and Ghost, I think, were the 2 that were on Wii U. And let me tell you, if you want to feel good about playing Call of Duty, play the Wii U versions. Cause
why?
Because nobody.
I've never done it. So.
No, nobody's good on the Wii U. Nobody's good at Call of Duty. Everybody's playing on Xbox who's good at Call of Duty. So I mean,
I suppose
I did it when PAL Block was the only show I was doing, and we were kind of talking about all the third party stuff. So I made the sacrifice and played Call of Duty.
Wow, you're so brave.
I know.
To make that sacrifice.
I know. It was fine. All right, let's head into the wrap up here, which I think we might both have more to say on this next one
than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Splinter is going to be a playable character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge in a new 8-minute gameplay video. Emu showed off the combat of the Radical Rat and the Turtles' female companion, April O'Neil. The game is hitting in all the right places in terms of nostalgia, and many fans are looking for anything good from the franchise.
I would like some sort of release window.
Yeah, 2022. I have it right here.
I need something more narrow.
I know, like next week.
Yeah. Like, did you see the Martha is Dead trailer? It looks like a kind of like a dystopian, futuristic BioShock.
Oh, really?
It looks really good.
Is this the game that got censored on PlayStation and everybody's pissed about it?
No, that's Martha is Dead.
That's what I'm saying.
But this is different. This is a different game.
Wait, what did you say?
I said Atomic Heart.
Oh, I thought you said Martha is Dead.
No. Did I? Maybe I did.
I think you did. That's why I asked you.
Hey, Jamie, replay back that tape. No?
Jamie.
I don't have a Jamie.
I don't have a Jamie either.
You don't have a Jamie? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, I guess you could just edit that in post. You'll have to actually edit in me saying Atomic Heart.
Atomic
Okay,
Heart looks good, though.
Atomic Heart. Yeah. That I forget where I was going with that.
It's like the last thing you said was like it's a dystopian BioShock was the last thing you said.
It pretty much is. Yeah. Anyway, I forget what I was saying. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. Where's the Casey Jones trailer, guys?
I'm waiting for it.
Come on.
Oh yeah, now I remember. The Atomic Hearts trailer, at the end of it, kind of had this slow animation of the year that it was coming out, and it said 2022, and then it had half of the month edited out, and then it ended in BER. So it could be, September, October, November, or December. So obviously it's coming out in the last half. So at least Mayo, give me that.
Yeah. Man, that sucks. Just give me stop teasing me, man.
I know.
Stop teasing. All I want is to play a good Ninja Turtles game. You know how long it's been?
So good.
You know how long it's been? Stoy?
How long?
Since a good Turtles game?
Probably since the arcade.
Not an okay Turtles game like on the GameCube or the Xbox 360. Okay. A good one. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Okay.
Yeah. Hyperstone Heist.
Yeah,
Turtles
Hyperstone Heist is the best.
Yeah, really.
So, give me a good Turtles game. Emu, hurry up. Take your time, but hurry up.
Yeah, I want it now, but release it whenever it's ready. But I want it now.
Yeah. Take your time, but hurry up.
Or hurry up. Choice is yours. Don't be late. We're not going to get C&D'd for that, are we?
I don't know.
Okay. God, I hope not.
No. Next up.
But, okay, so we could speculate. Obviously, Casey Jones is going to be up there because they'd be stupid not to put him in as a playable character. Who else could we see as a playable character?
What about the remember the frogs from the cartoon with the Hawaiian shirts?
Really? You think so?
No, but I'm just saying you could. Or the duck that flies the blimp.
Yeah, he could be that guy. Yeah.
Let's see who else.
You're gonna have the robot turtles, but those are kind of villains.
They're bad guys though.
Yeah, they're bad guys. Yeah.
Slash was a bad guy. Bebop, Rocksteady, bad guys.
Tokar and Razor.
Yeah, still bad guys. We could do the scientists from Secret of the Ooze. You just throw ooze on people.
That was Baxter though. Right? Wasn't that Baxter in the movie? I thought that was Professor Baxter.
Oh. Tyler Perry played Baxter Stockman in the second reboot movie, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I like that. I like those Michael Bay ones.
So do I.
They were decent. They were good.
The second one was way better than the first one.
Agreed.
But yeah, who else could we see? What if the Power Rangers show up? Because there was that weird crossover thing.
That is true. Hey, Batman fought against the Teenage Mutant Turtles in the comics.
Yeah, we get Batman. Oh,
yeah,
man, that'd be cool. Turtles were in Justice.
Yeah,
just saying, they were in Injustice. The only reason why I bought Injustice was because the Ninja Turtles were in it, and I played it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was the reason why I bought the expansion pack. Was like, that's cool. I got everybody else. I think Red Hood was part of the expansion pack, but then when they said the Ninja Turtles are coming, I was like, oh, that's an instant. Yeah, it's instant.
Yeah, it made me really want an Arkham-styled Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah,
based on those models, they were so good.
Honestly, that would be really cool if we got like a fully realized, like 3D action beat 'em up.
Telling you, that'd be awesome.
Sick.
Be awesome. Give the
pretty
turtles
sick.
grappling hooks so they could, you could fudge some stuff, right? You give them grappling hooks. You give them some cool weapons and some cool upgrades.
Yeah.
Telling you, we're designing this game for you. Whoever owns Turtles IP right now, Nickelodeon, I guess, who doesn't care about games at all right now.
Yeah.
Free one. That's a free one. Anyways, speaking of free ones, we're going to move on. Ninja Turtles, can't wait. Platinum Games wants to work with Microsoft again. Everybody, tell me where you heard this before. A lot of Xbox fans may remember that their previous project was unceremoniously canceled due to a combination of Xbox's position at the time and Platinum not fully delivering on deadlines and gameplay. That would be Scalebound, by the way, everybody, in case you were sleeping on a rock. Hideki Kamiya stated that fans need to speak up to Xbox and even tweeted out, "Phil, let's do this." Okay, I don't really need to see Scalebound anymore, guys. I'm sorry.
I want Scalebound. Come on.
You want Scalebound?
Yes, I want Scalebound.
What do you want from Scalebound?
You fly a freaking dragon, man.
Just play Bayonetta 3, because apparently they shoved all those ideas in Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, I know, but like, I want the whole game centered around flying dragons, not just maybe one little level scene.
That's fair.
I want to fly a dragon.
Yeah. The colors are great in this. It kind of looks like a mix between like Avatar and like Devil May Cry and Dragonfly.
Yeah. I mean, it's platinum.
Yeah. Here's Hideki Kamiya's full statement. He said, "We did a lot of work on it, and it's no use Microsoft keeping the game in its current form, so we'd like to do something about it. Phil, let's do it together."
I mean, they had a fully playable gameplay demo 2016, 2017 or something.
I think it was 15 or 16 because they showed the multiplayer demo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they showed like a kind of like a scripted cutscene / gameplay right afterwards.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I imagine they still have the assets. They still have a lot of the motion capture and graphics and everything done, the pre-concept work. So all they got to do is just kind of pretty much pick up from where they left off, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would not say no to it.
2015, yeah.
I would not say no to it. I'm just concerned that Platinum's pulling themselves too many different directions at this moment.
Well, they need to cancel everything else to focus on Scalebound.
They need to cancel Babylon's Fall because that game looks like
like trash. That game looks like trash, and that's coming out soon.
Yeah, in like 3 weeks. I did not know it was coming out in 3 weeks until I was listening to a podcast and like, oh yeah, that's what they're working on, and it's out in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oof.
So
anyway,
good luck, I guess. Sure.
I mean, Platinum is a big enough studio that they can work on multiple projects. Like, obviously, they were working on Babylon Fall, and then they're currently working on Bayonetta 3 still, and who knows how long. They've been working on that one for a long time.
And there's a rumor that they're working on Astral Chain 2 for Nintendo right now also.
Right, yeah.
And what was the other game that they were working on? There was a fourth game, because they have so many games in development right now.
Yeah, because I overheard a rumor that they're working on Vanquish 2. Now, that Vanquish 2 would be a really cool Xbox exclusive. Like, I would love for them to kind of make an exclusive game for the Xbox, and that would be a good one.
Yeah.
If Scalebound doesn't work.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh,
game.
there's
like you have a dragon fighting battles for you. I mean, and your character has like a crossbow. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll show him." You launch a little arrow while like your fucking dragon's doing the work.
Oh, Project GG was the other game they're working on, which is a spiritual sequel to Beautiful Joe, apparently.
Oh, okay. Because there's like four people in the world that actually like those two games.
I didn't play them, so I can't tell you.
I liked Beautiful Joe. That was a cool concept, but Wonderful 101, just whatever.
I played Wonderful 101. Let me tell you, if you want to play a game like Wonderful 101, you can either go back and play Beautiful Joe or play Pikmin. Pick one. Don't shove both ideas into one game and say it's good, because it's overrated. I'm going to throw that out there. Lastly, Stoy, Hellblade 2.
I want to talk about Scalebound more.
Oh, do you?
No.
Okay.
Okay, we're done. We're done with it.
I mean,
fine.
you could. I don't care.
I mean, I'm still watching the trailer, and I'm just saying, like, they got. I mean, a lot of work is done. Mm-hmm. I mean, I imagine not like a ton of it, because they still got probably a lot more to do. I'm only watching like a kind of like a 5-minute gameplay trailer of it, but pre-production's done. All they got to do is pick up from where they left off, maybe make a few other quality of life changes, and
I mean, they could probably do a lot more now with the tech that's in these consoles now than they could have back then, right? With a launch Xbox One compared to a Series X, like that's Yeah, especially because Platinum said they want to go into the games as a service model. This kind of feels like if you're going to go the multiplayer route, you could definitely kind of try to do something like that. Maybe not a full-on Destiny style multiplayer experience, but you could do probably like a Borderlands thing where like every 6 months you release an expansion for it, you know?
Honestly, I'm sick of the phrase games as a service. I hate that phrase so much.
I also am, but Platinum came out in a statement. Their new president said that they are working on a couple games as a service because that's the way the industry is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, if you wanted to bring Scalebound back as a multiplayer game with some expansions, you could technically call it that if you want.
Yeah, you could.
So the more I'm watching this, I'm like, you know what? I could probably maybe get behind Scalebound.
See,
could try. I could do it. I could touch it. Touch the dragon.
Yeah.
Feel the dragon. Be the dragon.
He's your best friend.
All right,
okay, we can move on now.
Lastly, here in the wrap up, Hellblade 2 will be more ambitious than its predecessor. I could tell. In a recent interview with NME co-founder Tamim Antonidis discusses the studio's plans for Hellblade 2. I hope I said your name right. Probably butchered it. It's okay. Stoy, any ideas?
Tamim Antonidis.
Okay.
Yeah, it's best I could do too.
Great. He stated, the goal with Hellblade 2 isn't to perfect it, but to create an experience that feels more believable and more refined. Its ambition in terms of scale is bigger. I think Hellblade 2 will make Hellblade look like an indie game.
See, I'm worried about this statement.
Why is that?
Because what made Hellblade so good was what it focused on. What I'm being led to believe in making a bigger style game, they're making it more of a video game than an experience. Because I likened Hellblade to being kind of an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Combat was very much a part of it. It very much provided the difficulty for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you were mostly playing for the experience of what, Senua was going through.
Yeah.
And her disability, so to speak. So, I hope that's still a focus with Hellblade 2. I imagine it is.
Yeah.
So maybe when they talk about an experience that feels more believable, maybe more so rooted and grounded in terms of conveying the experiences of psychosis and, the anxiety that Senna was going through, and maybe instead of just like, what we saw, which was like a huge combat scenario in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like this Hellblade 2 is going to probably be something in the vein of like God of War. This is what I keep getting vibes from.
Which is what I hope it doesn't.
Yeah. I think, to your displeasure, I feel like they're going to go bigger with this because of the Microsoft budget, and as much as I want that, I also really appreciate this smaller experience, and I feel like if you make it that grander experience, you're really taking away what that first game did.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a big deal if like if they themselves didn't make such a big deal about what the first game was about and what it's trying to do in terms of teaching people about mental health and stuff, and then you turn around and make the sequel more like God of War, like that's, yeah. I don't know. As much as I want a grander experience, like
they haven't really talked about that, like with the development of this. Mm-mm. They never really kind of delved into Senua as a character as opposed to the first one. When they talked about the first one and a lot of the lead ups, they kind of really focused and centered around, they're studying and Senua as a character and what she's going through. Whereas with this one, all they're saying is we're making a bigger experience. We're making a better experience. And then obviously that big trailer we see, Senua and an army fighting a giant, humanoid type monster thing.
Yeah. So.
Which could be maybe like a vision or a like it could personify some sort of internal struggle that Senna was having. I could see them using that, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see. I guess it's definitely I don't know. I could see it being. I could see them working out really well, and I could see it like really just being a downer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's really room for an in between, because I think people are expecting one or the other, and can't have both, unfortunately.
No, and I have no doubt that Hellblade 2 is going to be an amazing game. But I guess, whatever decision they go with, I'll keep an open mind.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Stoy, it's time for our segment, Pass It On.
Yeah.
Where we talk about what's coming to Game Pass this week, even though it's going to change probably 3 times by the time this episode comes out. It's okay. What's coming to Game Pass, Stoy?
Ark Ultimate Survivor Edition.
Ooh.
So apparently this is the definitive edition where it comes with all the expansion packs that came with the game before. Now, keep in mind, this isn't the one that Vin Diesel's in.
Why not?
I don't think. I think Vin Diesel is one of the future ones. But, apparently this the Ark game is tame and ride primeval creatures as you explore savage lands. Team up with other players to compete in epic tribal battles and travel together to the greatest dinosaur-filled adventure of all time. So just, Stone Age, Jurassic Park type shit. This comes out on the 14th on Valentine's Day. So actually, by the time you hear this, it will be on there.
Yeah. Play it with your lady friend or your man friend or,
or just a
whoever.
friend. So Infernax is an interesting game that we talked about today on the because this is a game. This is a day one exclusive. So this is basically a masochistic choose your own adventure Castlevania like game. So like a retro 16-bit, 8-bit style side-scrolling platformer / adventure game where every boss you encounter, you can choose is it afflicted with some sort of evil or some sort of disease. So you can either spare them or you could defeat them. And kind of in the same fashion of what BioShock was, where the little girls, you could either kill them or spare them, can kind of affect the ending. Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting premise.
Cool.
So it kind of has roguelike elements, platforming and puzzle elements. And Neat. So apparently the developers have gone on to give it their own subgenre. They're calling it an ARPG.
Oh God.
They're calling it's called Awesomely Radical Playing Game.
Okay.
Not what I expected.
How many more genres do we need until we get a letter in front of RPG?
I know, no kidding. Well, RPG is not a genre anymore.
I know, but
it's a game mechanic because RPGs are in every game out there now.
I know. It's just like, man, you have ARPGs, you have CRPGs, you have JRPGs, you have WRPGs.
Yep.
You have SRPGs, TRPGs.
All kinds of PGs or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but that one's coming out on the 14th as well, which is actually kind of surprising because I think it comes out on everything else. It comes out everything else that day too. It's kind of weird. Usually games come out on Tuesday or Friday.
Yeah.
So.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that looks kind of interesting. I think I may try that out. Because that's the nice thing about Game Pass, because you can try it out. If you like it, you keep playing. If you don't, well, then that's it.
That's it. Goodbye.
Yeah. So we still really don't know what's happening on the second half, but on the 15th, just as a reminder, Control is leaving, Code Vein is leaving, Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, The Medium is leaving, Project Winter, and The Falconeer. They're all leaving on the 15th. And I think for a couple weeks after they leave, you can still get them on a 20% discount if you're a Game Pass subscriber.
Mm-hmm. So some of them are more.
Yeah.
You said what, Code Vein was leaving, you said?
Code Vein was leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's $12 right now. Code Vein is, and it's $60 normally. So I mean, that's a pretty...
and keep in mind, Control is not the Series X version.
Right.
That's on Game Pass. So that's just the standard version.
Yeah. Yes. Also, by the way, though, the Ultimate Edition, which is the Series X version, is also $12 right now.
That is actually a really damn good deal.
Yeah. So you should play Control. Don't play the normal version of Control. Play the Series X version. For the love of God, do not play that. I played Control, like the regular version or whatever, and it was fine. There's a lot of things, that game was not optimized for Xbox One, I will tell you. But you play that game at 60 frames a second, it's a lot smoother, it's a lot prettier.
Yep.
There's ray tracing in there, and it's like, oh my gosh, this game is a totally different game. It's it's one of those games that literally the frame rate just makes it a different game.
Speaking of Remedy games that developed the amazing Control game, Crossfire X is encountering a problem this week.
Oh God.
Because when you get the game on Game Pass, and maybe you downloaded this, maybe you're kind of confused as to what you got with Crossfire X. With the Game Pass version, you're supposed to get the multiplayer, and you're supposed to get the first campaign for free as part of the Game Pass. But if you download the game and you try to fire up the campaign, you'll find it's locked behind a paywall. You have to pay $9 to unlock that first chapter, which, by all intents and purposes, everything you read about before, it says Crossfire X on Game Pass comes with the first episode of the campaign, and that's it. Whenever the second episode comes out, that you have to pay for. So Microsoft is aware of the problem that Game Pass subscribers can't access the campaign, but they're also aware that the game is utter trash. The campaign is awful. And the multiplayer is having a lot of connection problems as well.
Yeah.
And when I mean the campaign is awful, I just mean apparently the enemy AI is terrible. Mm-hmm. The acting and the story is terrible. Is like just kind of laughable. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Play Control.
Just play Control. Yeah. I really wanted Crossfire X to be a really good first-person shooter that I really have been looking for. But once I started kind of hearing what other people have been saying about it and this whole Game Pass thing, I'm just like, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought about downloading it, but I was like, no, because I'm hearing too many things. It's just like, I don't even want to give it my Game Pass time.
Yeah. So I think I deleted it off my hard drive because I checked it like every couple days. I'm like, oh, let's see if it's up there. Nope, not up there. Because I at least want to kind of try it because sometimes people are just a little bit harsher than what they really are. But yeah. So
yeah. Anyways, is that all that's coming to Game Pass this week?
That's all. I just wanted to drop that little bit of news about Crossfire X because I imagine if you have Game Pass, you're kind of confused on to what you got with Crossfire X. And yeah, that's a problem. Microsoft is aware of it, but I imagine they're also aware that not a lot of people are liking this game. So do we really want to give this game away for free, or do we want to wait for them to friggin' fix it?
Right. Well, all right, Stoy. Well, let's get into our topic of the show, as they say. Mm-hmm. So recently Microsoft came out and said that they're planning on leaving Call of Duty and other Activision Blizzard games multi-platform, and they actually want to get more games across multiple platforms. And it just seems like their strategy they're being very picky and choosy with their strategies on certain games and stuff. And I thought it would be kind of a unique topic to kind of talk about what we think Microsoft's strategy is now that they own all of these studios and these publishing arms after all of these acquisitions. I know we kind of talked a little bit about who they could acquire next, which, by the way, rumors coming out, Stoy, after we had our discussion last week that Square wants to move away from their Western arm and kind of...
So they really actually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
How they're looking to offload their Western arm, which would be, what do we say? Eidos Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and Crystal Dynamics Montreal, right? I don't know. But that would mean like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Legacy of Kain are like the 3 big franchises that they have right now, and Guardians, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Of the Galaxy and Avengers. So I was just wondering what you thought about Microsoft's strategy, because Bethesda is clearly one strategy, Activision is a different strategy. So what are your thoughts on these different strategies that they're taking, these different approaches?
Well, Microsoft has always said from the get-go that they want Xbox on as many platforms as possible.
Yes.
So they want to have a foothold in as many platforms as possible. So obviously, you're not going to sell Halo on PlayStation or Nintendo systems.
They tried,
because that's a firmly rooted Xbox system mainstay. So the Activision acquisition is probably the best thing that they could do, the next best thing they could do, in terms of if they release a Call of Duty multiplayer game that people will buy on a PlayStation system, that part of that money obviously goes to Microsoft's pockets, as well as Sony's pockets, which could get butthurt to Sony, because I liken it to, like, imagine you're a Ford car dealer, and you're exclusively supposed to sell Fords, but Chevy wants to come in and sell, cars in your dealership too, even though Ford is kind of paying your dealership, so to speak.
Right.
So it's kind of a little bit of that.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense though obviously Call of Duty is like a Minecraft situation, right? And they're kind of even evolving Warzone 2 probably into something like that, as well as like it transcends consoles. And so it's probably smart to keep stuff like that and kind of move these games where they make sense. I think Overwatch is kind of at that point too, where it's not as big as Call of Duty, but Overwatch kind of really transcends consoles, and it's a brand that all of Blizzard's games to an extent at this point. So like, yeah, it makes sense because Bethesda has always had a relationship with Microsoft, so maybe you want to keep a lot of that future stuff exclusive for Game Pass. But Activision Blizzard has always been where's the money? And so, yeah, Call of Duty makes sense. Overwatch makes sense. I think getting kid-friendly stuff onto like Switch even would make sense. And then Microsoft can always say, hey, yeah, we're selling it on all platforms, but if you want it for free, subscribe to Game Pass. That's the angle.
Yeah.
That's the angle a lot of people thought they were going to take with Bethesda, before they kind of came out and said, no, we're not doing that. Because, like, they obviously think that whatever sales they're not making up on PlayStation is worth Game Pass subscriptions with Elder Scrolls and Starfield and Fallout and whatever the next couple games are, right? So,
yeah, I mean, they can make more money selling, and Bethesda itself is obviously has to look up for their number one. So, we have to kind of admit that Microsoft doesn't necessarily hold all the power, even though they own them.
Yeah,
it's not like they just kind of walked in to Activision Studios or publishing arm with a suitcase full of money and just say, here's what we're doing. It's not a hostile takeover. Obviously, Microsoft had to make concessions in order to acquire these studios.
Right.
So, because it's not like Todd Howard of Bethesda would have just willingly just lied down, pulled his pants down and say, all right, I'll take whatever you got.
I mean, they probably paid a ton of money in retention.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere down the line, I could see, not that he will at this point in his career, but I could see Todd Howard, like, after 5 years being like, you know what? I'm packing my bags. I'm done, after his retention's up. I could see, God, what's his name? Their marketing guy, Pete Hines.
Yeah.
He could either pack his bags and go somewhere else or be worked into the Microsoft marketing fold in general,
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of job security because obviously if either these guys leave, Microsoft's got like tons of openings for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of what Bethesda was doing was really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the way they got in kind of in sort of I don't see. I'm hearing conflicting things. Like, were they really in financial trouble? Because
I highly
like
doubt it.
because like
I think
I've,
they were banking on Fallout 76 to be a big thing.
yeah.
I think they had a lot of faith in that, and then obviously when it kind of fell like a dud,
Yeah.
I think they had to kind of like backpedal into what their projections were.
Yeah. I've you sell like 40 million versions of Skyrim, right? Like that should keep you afloat for a while, right? It's not like Bethesda's like a gigantic company or anything. I mean, they're big, but they're not like they're not Ubisoft, EA, Activision big, they're quite small, and like, yeah, okay, maybe Doom or Wolfenstein didn't sell as well as you wanted them to. Like I don't feel like Wolfenstein sold enough at all for them. Or
No, honestly, Wolfenstein is like too good for what its sales numbers are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially that second one.
Yeah, the second one was good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I've been hearing conflicting things, unless they're just terrible money managers at that company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't see them being in financial. They're not even like a publicly traded company either. It's all in house, So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like the rumor was that they were going to Sony to pitch these exclusives because Sony was going to pay them, and they needed that financial security. And it's like, well, but why? You sell 15 million copies of Doom, you sell 40 million copies of Skyrim, you sell all kinds of Fallout and everything. It's like, I don't know, but and at any rate, like having those games on Game Pass is like a big swing for them, but also like keeping Activision stuff multi-platform is also a big swing for them because, like you said earlier, they're going to get all the money off the back end for a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
it's just smart,
What, admittedly, obviously, Microsoft is a business first. They want to make money. Obviously, they want to bring good experiences, but good experiences means money.
Mm-hmm.
So if they bring good experiences, if they get good studios that make good games, and they fund that, to these studios and to these publishers, and they get these good experiences, that means more money in Microsoft's pocket. So ultimately, in the end, let's not forget these developers, these publishers, Microsoft itself, they're businesses. Their businesses run to make money. So that's their strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, how can we get as much financial gain as possible? We just spent nearly $100 billion on all these studios over the last few years. So let's start to see some return from these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's I know that report came out where Phil Spencer said they're not raising the price of Game Pass Ultimate, which is like, that's great
for
us.
The last time they tried to do that, they got huge backlash.
Well, no, they got that for gold. They were going to double the price of gold.
Thing. If they tried to do that for Game Pass Ultimate, man, it'd be even worse.
Yeah, I feel like I get like $15 is a great price point, but at what point, like, man, they just I feel like that. I feel
as a business, when you price something, and I just heard this recently, when you price something, you really got to kind of take consideration of what you can do later on in the future.
Right.
If you make something too cheap, you say Game Pass is $10 a month, and you're increasing the value for Game Pass. More big games are coming to Game Pass. You can't increase the price because that's going to get people to cancel your service, even though it's like we're only increasing it $5 a month, which in some cases it's not a big deal, but for some people they say $5 a month, nope, done.
Yeah.
I don't see a value in that extra $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And they can go dump that money somewhere else. But if you price it too high, and you get a small fan base of people coming to that service, and then all of a sudden you drop it $5,
mm-hmm.
then you get a huge influx more of people coming
mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah.
You have better leeway that way. So it's almost like you should be pricing it higher than what you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can always drop the price. You can't just always raise the price.
Right. I'm just starting to wonder, like, if Microsoft has too much now on their plate, because they're at a point where they could release a major title onto Game Pass every 2 months theoretically, once these games start rolling out, which is great. It's great for us as consumers. It's just like, do they have the bandwidth to manage all of these studios? And I understand like Bethesda's going to kind of be under their own umbrella, and Activision and Blizzard are going to be under their own umbrellas, but like, you know, have their own management and everything. But like, man, Microsoft just has so much now. And the fact that that they're going to probably end up with a couple more by the end of the year is like, how do you have the bandwidth to just buy all these things and keep it all lined up, keep all your ducks in a row? Like, it's
well, keep in mind what Microsoft's vision is. Microsoft's vision is let the developers do the work. So they're just kind of like the dad sending the kids off to college. It's like, hey, get out there to do the work. You know, get what you need to get done. We're here as your support. We're here as your backup.
I know, but if you
games that you want,
I understand that, but like, if a game's gonna, like, if you have a timetable where a game's gonna take theoretically, let's just say 4 years, and then it gets delayed, and then it gets delayed, and it takes 7, 8, 9 years, you think Microsoft's not going to jump in at some point?
Well, I mean, they're either going to cancel the game or they're just going to, you know, give them the time. I mean, you know, they've done that before. They've allowed Halo Infinite to be delayed by a whole year. And the initial plan for releasing the Series X at the time was to be in line with Halo Infinite's release.
Yeah. Well,
I think Microsoft is going to be more forgiving than other publishers. And let's also keep in mind, too, the recent negativity of what publishers have gotten for releasing games too early or releasing games before they're ready. To say, we need this game to come out this quarter, so we're going to release it whether it's ready or not. It's going to burn you in the ass more so than just delaying a game maybe an extra few months or an extra year just to get it done right, which God help Microsoft if they released Infinite a year before it was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
If it was supposed to come out if it came out in 2021 or 2020 during that fall, oh my God, that would have been the end of the Halo franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, a game like Halo, where you have a whole studio dedicated to one franchise, I feel like, especially your flagship franchise, is that you don't think they're going to treat that differently than like Obsidian's Outer Worlds or Avowed or Wasteland from In Exile? You think they're just going to treat them all the same?
No, I think they're going to treat them all the same. I really think, honestly, like I said, Microsoft is, like I said, a business first and foremost, but they want good products. So I think they're going to be patient enough to work with developers and give them what they need.
Yeah.
And obviously, there could even be instances where, you could farm out assets or you could farm out work to other studios to say, hey, we have a small branch of, In Exile Entertainment not doing anything. We could devote some assets to working on, Obsidian's new game, which would be kind of funny. Or like, we got a team working at 343 Studios that can help with something that, Bethesda needs help on. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's a possibility, but I'm saying that could be a possibility.
I mean, they did have the Coalition and Playground working on Halo also before it came out.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm just playing devil's advocate here of like, I'm trying to play the other side here of like other publishers treat their studios differently. Obviously, Microsoft has, and Phil Spencer's team specifically is like really seems like they are developer first, consumer first style. Obviously it's still business, but they seem to be playing that angle really well. And I just hope whoever takes over for Phil Spencer when he retires, I hope they have the same mindset, because I mean, this is a long-term investment. These studios are a long-term investment, and I could theoretically see Phil Spencer retiring before some of these studios put out their next game, which sucks because I like Phil a lot. I mean, well,
honestly, he just got that CEO position. So, I mean, he's still relatively young. I could see him sticking around for another 5 to 7 years at least.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. My daughter's crying. Pause.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah.
Keep these streamers entertained.
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. I could I could read stuff. What can I read to everybody? Who in the chat wants me to read something? Oh, I got no one in the chat really. So, golly. I know there was a rumor going around that GoldenEye 007 is supposed to come out. I think some achievements were leaked in January about GoldenEye coming out. And yeah, apparently it's supposed to come out in the next couple of weeks.
What'd I miss?
I started talking about the rumor that GoldenEye is supposed to get a remake and it's supposed to be coming soon.
Oh, it is? Did I miss that? I missed that. It's right here. It's literally on the front page of Pure Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I wonder.
I am not. That game needs to stay where it's at.
I want to see what it's like. I bet it's on the Perfect Dark engine, the one that they did for Xbox Live.
Yeah.
I bet it would be fun to play through the dam in the facility, and then be like, that was a fun romp, and then you uninstall it and never play it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm envisioning my time with GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Who's developing it? Do we know who's developing it?
No one says. Yeah, no one says. I didn't really say.
Interesting. What if it's DLC for Rare Replay?
That would be kind of funny.
I mean, I could honestly see them kind of just shoving it in there without like saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be weird. All right, so where were we at? It wasn't my daughter; it was my son. My daughter's fast asleep, so
okay.
it's fine. Life, people.
I think just in terms of Microsoft having just being developer focused, and it's one of those things on paper and in interviews and the public, obviously he's doing like a political, like kind of like public service campaign of just who Microsoft is and who, what Phil Spencer's about, and Microsoft being number one game focused because that's what made Microsoft lose the audience in the first place. They weren't game focused, so now they're trying to reverse course, make it about the games, giving themselves a good public image, and acquiring all these developers, but always saying like, hey, we're going to work with them first. And obviously Activision wouldn't have jumped on board with Microsoft if they didn't know, if they knew that other developers were having a bad time with Microsoft. And from what I even hear, I think we talked about this way in the past, that a lot of times, a lot of independent developers like the Microsoft's commitment to indie developers and indie games and marketing indie games. And they say in a lot of cases, Nintendo is the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so. I mean, I don't know how much that is true, but I was reading a news article like months ago that kind of when they talked about all the developers, like honestly, Microsoft and PlayStation storefront is much better with showing you recommendations. They're showing you, hey, you might like this or you might like that better than Nintendo's eShop does.
Nintendo eShop doesn't show you anything. We just talked about that on the PAL block that's coming out the day after this releases. Ed and I recorded one on Friday, and we talked a lot about like how Nintendo can improve their online service, which was
a lot.
Yeah,
they could improve it a lot.
But we were talking.
Much they could do.
We were talking about the store in particular, and it's just like it's literally just like as the games come out, the new games. All the games are sorted in release date order, and they have like a few featured ones that they switch up every week. They have great deals, which is like, well, that whole pile of crap is like just thrown in there, and then like it's just they don't do anything to help you discover games that you would be interested in, right? There is zero discoverability. They really don't. And like I mean, at this point, I don't know if Nintendo even cares, because I think Nintendo knows you're either going there for first-party games or indies that you already know about, and that's it. And crap that's on sale. That's what I've picked up from Nintendo. It's like I love Nintendo games. Don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo games, but like their store just needs something.
Yeah.
something. So, but Xbox's store is great at discoverability. I've found tons of games that I probably would have never even found based on discoverability in their store, and and Game Pass does that really well too, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's just, I mean, that's the nature of Game Pass at this point, right? You know, and then like I heard this thing the other day where somebody said that indie developers are really scared of the Activision acquisition, being afraid of being buried on Game Pass now. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think that one necessarily, you know, is indicative of the other. I think people who are into indies may seek you out, you know?
No, I think so.
So,
I mean, Microsoft has that ID at Xbox where they actually, you know, you submit an application, and if Microsoft likes your stuff and likes where you're going with it, they'll provide you funding.
yeah, and I think they're more likely to do that than ever now, because like Microsoft is kind of like, not like notorious, but like, I mean, remember Xbox Live Arcade? They did such a great job of like making indies discoverable, but then they had all these weird restrictions that they've recently lifted, and then indies started, obviously the Switch is just like an incredible indie machine at this point, and people seem to go there, and then, you know, a lot of indie games kind of go PlayStation first sometimes, and Xbox has been really trying to gain back what they were known for. And ID of Xbox, I don't know if you watch their YouTube channel at all, but they put some really weird games up there that I'm like, I don't know, but it's weird. And then it ends up being on Game Pass, which is like, oh, well, I hope someone gets to play that, because that seems interesting, I guess. You know, it's weird, it's fun, it's dumb. I mean, look at Deer Simulator, right? I mean,
yeah, right. Someone made that game.
Or Procession to Cavalry. Like, those games are so dumb, but they're on Game Pass, and somebody liked them.
Hell, I did. I enjoyed my time with them. Yeah. The you know, and hopefully, obviously, I'm pretty sure we know Microsoft's commitment to the indie space is going to be still paramount during this whole process. And, you know, it could even pave the way for bigger independent studios to come forward and work with Microsoft. Like, I look at, for example, Slow Clap and the Ember Labs for the PlayStation. You know, Slow Clap made Sifu, and obviously Ember Labs made Kenna.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are considered indie games. They're made by a small team of developers, but they give you almost like a AAA experience, a very good, satisfying experience. And, yeah, I mean, just straight digital releases for the most part. I think I have a physical copy of Kenna, and I know there's a physical copy of Sifu coming out soon. But, you know, if Xbox continues to cultivate their platform like they should be doing still, obviously, focus on these big studios, but still focus on your smaller devs. I hope they do. We can start to see kind of more come out of these studios.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, on top of, like, I know that, like, Microsoft kind of doesn't really get a lot of the Xbox first in terms of indies. I mean, we got Tunic, we got Below at one point, like, Limbo, obviously back in the day, but, like, Sifu and Kenna are pretty big indie titles that, like, we were talking about. Sifu seems like the perfect Game Pass game once it starts coming to Xbox, which I totally see it coming to Game Pass, right? That is totally a Game Pass game. Kana, not so much. I feel like that won't hit Game Pass because I feel like it was such high profile. I hope it comes to Xbox. The developer said that they even though like the exclusivity is up in like March, I think it was 6 months, that like they might not bring it to Xbox just because that it was a lot of work, right? And which, look,
especially for their first game period.
But I think that's a game that Phil Spencer would really want on the Xbox. I could totally see him being like, hey, if you want to port this thing, we'll cut the porting fee or whatever, or, you know, like the development fee for that, and we'll throw you some money to port it over here because we really want this game. Because that's a game that I really want to play. I've been debating whether or not if I'm even going to get a PlayStation this generation, just because I don't know if it's worth getting a box for like 3 or 4 games, which I say that, but also I will probably get one.
You got Horizon coming out literally this week.
I know.
So,
That's one.
yeah.
It's like the 5 games I want are Horizon, God of War, Uncharted, Final Fantasy 16, and there was another one I forget.
Well,
what it is
all
at
of
this
those
point,
are coming out on the PlayStation 4.
I know.
So
I know.
we know Sony's still committed to the previous generation, at least for the time being.
Yeah, they believe in generations.
Yeah.
They believe in generations. My thing is like I'm waiting till the PlayStation 5 gets smaller, I think, at this point. And readily available.
Yeah.
That thing is massive, dude. Like
really is.
I saw one for the first time the other day in person. I was like, "Oh my gosh." I knew that thing was big, but that thing is a monster.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Like, who thought it was a good idea to make it that big? You know, I thought the Xbox Series X was big.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's not. It's actually like the Xbox One X is taller, at least.
I think in surface area, like the PlayStation 5 is much bigger, even though like when you look at the Series X, you think like that thing is like a giant brick.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, when you look at the width and the height of the PlayStation 5, yeah, definitely bigger footprint.
Yeah. So like I'll get it eventually. I'm just like not in a hurry at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Although Horizon, man, that's like the one game. That's like Horizon is my favorite PlayStation IP. I loved Horizon. And like I played it after Breath of the Wild because not right after. I waited. I got Horizon the day it came out. I got the special edition with the steelbook and the statue and everything. Mm-hmm. And I played it and I loved it. But I also pre-ordered the Switch and Zelda. And I'm like, I played Zelda first because I'm a Nintendo knee, whatever, get on my knees, whatever, new knee pads. I don't know what you want to say. Mm-hmm. There's a joke in there somewhere. You can figure it out what you will.
But I don't want to.
But right after that, like I was like, I'm not going to go right into Horizon because like I don't want to compare these games. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to like sit here and compare these games and say they should have done this, Horizon should have done this. And I mean, to be fair, it looks like Horizon did exactly what I was complaining about, like the climbing kind of almost everywhere, and they even added the little parasailer thing, right, from Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Hey, I mean that's a whole nother topic in and of itself, to where, you know, games borrowing from other games is actually a good thing as opposed to being a bad thing. We shouldn't see it as a negative. Yeah, we should see it as kind of like, you know, everything is borrowed from something else.
Right, and like, you know, I don't really do that. You know, I'm glad they borrowed that stuff from Breath of the Wild. I think it's going to make that game infinitely better.
Yeah, of course.
Just like Halo adding the grappling hook from like Doom or even some of these other games, right? Like that makes that game even infinitely better. I don't know how you go back to Halo and not use the
I think that's going to be a mainstay for the next iteration of whatever campaigns they use. Mm-hmm. But I mean, kind of going back to, you know, what I feel Microsoft's strategy should be now is, I really think it's untested waters at this point. I think they really haven't even fully shown what their acquisitions have been able to do.
Yeah.
You know, I think the more recent, over the last like year and a half, I mean, I guess Double Fine was kind of their first big game from a recently acquisition studio.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a AAA game by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, yeah, you got like Halo, but they've had 343 Studios in the bag for a while. Playground Games with Forza Horizon 5, you know, and so obviously those have been mainstays for a while, but we really haven't seen anything big from a Bethesda, Machine Games, In Exile, Obsidian, anything like that. So
yeah, I mean,
I think we're still like 2 years away from seeing the big things of what these studios can be.
I mean, you could technically argue
make the assessment. Microsoft can make the assessment to say what's working and what's not. If you know, they turn out good sales with Avowed, the, you know, the big RPG that Obsidian's working on, you know, then they could kind of double down to say, okay, we're making enough money, systems are flying off the shelves, people are upping their Game Pass subscriptions like crazy, it's becoming a big success. So a lot of times you really can't gauge what's going to happen unless you just really start doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost argue that Outer Worlds might have been their first kind of, because that game came out technically after they acquired them, but like, I mean, like you said, like I think Microsoft's next step is assessing, like you said, but also like giving us a roadmap and like letting us see where these acquisitions and these games fall, right? Like we know Redfall is supposedly supposed to come out sometime this year, although the rumor is that it's delayed. Starfield is kind of like the one everybody's pointing at, being like, how is this going to do? You know, I mean, that's their flag is in the ground in November, right? So that's probably like, obviously, like you said, Forza and Halo and Psychonauts was a great way to end the year last year. Awesome way to end the year. But like we're looking at this spring and Microsoft doesn't really have anything, you know, it's,
No.
I'm a little, I'm ready for the point where Microsoft's going to be like, hey, February we have this, March we have this, May we have this, August, October.
We're still a ways from that. I mean, like I said, 2023 will be the year of like we'll see a good contingent of stuff probably in the last half of this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
I don't have any doubts about that. I want to see a roadmap now, right? Like we talked about the Nintendo Direct a little bit at the beginning of the show, and they have like this infographic Nintendo released of everything that's coming through September is like. I wish Xbox would release something like that. This at least for like, you know, I mean, Nintendo has third parties, indies, and first party games on this infographic. And I'm like, I would like to see a roadmap from Microsoft. That's all, just to know when and what to expect.
It's tough with video game development because, you know, as we see more and more, video games are, you know, becoming bigger. They're becoming more ambitious. They're becoming harder to make now because. You know, gamers' tastes are evolving faster than developers can keep up with. You know, you could be making a battle royale game one half of the year, and then all of a sudden, you know, the last half of the year now battle royale is dead in the water. You know, and every other battle royale game that's coming out is falling flat. I mean, you know, Ubisoft's take on the battle royale game died within a year.
Which one?
It was
Hyperscape, but they
Hyperscape,
They also killed that Division free-to-play one and the Ghost Recon one.
They're going back and changing the Ghost Recon one because, the fans are kind of done with the whole Battle Royale thing. You could put it in as a game mechanic, but you better offer something else. Yeah,
I mean, like we talked about Halo, right? Probably adding a Battle Royale, but they're adding that to the suite of already existing multiplayer, which is probably the smart way to go at this point. Yeah,
the smart way to go. Don't revolve a game around one mechanic.
Yeah.
You know, don't make a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Unless you're Fortnite, apparently.
Yeah. Which, you know, well, what are they getting? They're getting Uncharted stuff now?
Uncharted, and they also got a bunch of Boba Fett stuff recently.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Which, like, I mean, I've said this probably 10 times on the show already, but I'm so glad I'm not into Fortnite because I would be so poor.
Yeah. I mean, eventually that will die too. I mean.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, at this point.
It is surprising that it is still kind of as big as it is.
Yeah, but also Epic has Unreal Engine and they have the store and they have a plan for post Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
The Fortnite money has really allowed them to create a plan for when Fortnite is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, could be 2 years, could be 10 years, who knows? But you know, I mean, it's the same with Microsoft and Minecraft at this point, right? Where they've started really exploring how do they capitalize on Minecraft now. Remember they did Minecraft Dungeons last year or 2 years ago?
Feels like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you know, there's a rumor that they're spinning up a sequel to that, right? And so, or DLC or whatever, and you know, these games as a service, right? I mean, I talk about Destiny a lot, where like these games as a service need to find a way to evolve, and how hard it is to get people into Destiny, especially right now. It's a great game. The mechanics are great. The what they're changing in the game would actually draw a lot more people in who are into RPGs, actually. But where the story is, it's so hard to recommend because you're so far behind. So far behind. Especially if you didn't play the seasonal stuff. And that's where, like, these kinds of plans need to...
Rainbow Six Siege, for example. It's like getting into it now when people have, like, years and years of play experience on you. Yeah. Any game. Apex Legends, Fortnite. Yeah. You're jumping in to say, hey, let me give this game a shot. but then like finding out that you're going against guys and girls that have been playing for years and years that are much better than you. It becomes hard to a point to where that game will die at some point.
Yeah,
they don't have long lifespans.
Yeah. So I mean, not only does Microsoft need like a just some sort of like plan for these studios after they see what's going on, but like they almost need to guess like what the next big thing is going to be, where I still am. It shocks me when somebody's like, we're going to make a battle royale in 2022. And it's like, really? Like that fad's already passed. Like the people who are into those games are either playing Fortnite or Apex or PUBG on their phones.
Well, there was say for example, House Marquee. They were the studio that made Returnal.
Yeah.
They were working on a battle royale game because those kind of like massive shooting games that they were making were starting to kind of fall out of favor. And I remember they were getting all pissy about it because it's like no one plays these games anymore, and it's like that's video games now.
Yeah.
The genre changes so quickly.
Yeah,
and then they decided to jump onto the battle royale bandwagon. But as they were developing it, battle royale games started to kind of dip. So it's like they quickly reversed course, made a game like Returnal, and reaped the benefits from it. So you got to kind of like be fluid.
Yeah.
The market changes very quickly, especially video games now.
Yeah.
People have a short attention span.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
and
not,
that's like circling back to Microsoft, they have a catalog of studios that have their hands in everything. They have their hands in everything with multiplayer, single player, RPG, action, sports, everything. So they have the kind of flexibility to say, however the market changes, we'll be ready.
Yeah, and they could even do what Nintendo does is like have games finished and hold them based on where the market is or where they think these games could benefit the best, right? And Nintendo is notorious for doing that. And if Microsoft could get there with all these studios, like, I mean, you're going to have your big releases every year, like Call of Duty and whatever the next Gears game is. And, you're going to have your tent poles, but like these smaller games, like Psychonauts, you could develop like Psychonauts 3 and hold it to, after it's done and be like, hey, this would be the smartest place to release it. Take this time the game is done, but take this time to polish it up and see if you want to tinker with some things, and then we can release it at this time when it's ready, where it won't go out to die. And so, that's smart. Good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm still excited to see what else Microsoft is working on. By the way, like playing into this like strategy for them, they have like a game of the year game coming to Game Pass this year, Deathloop, probably this fall too, to go along with Redfall and Starfield. So, a lot of Bethesda this year, I guess. I forgot that was coming. So
we still don't have a release date on that, do we? Or at least a kind of like a window?
I mean, any time after September 23rd, I think. Any time after that, they'll make a big splash about that, right? They'll probably also add some sort of special Xbox things to it, I'm sure.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a game I want to try. I hear good things. I've heard a lot of revisionist history on that game as well already, though, where like everybody loved it at the beginning, and then a lot of people complaining about it at Game of the Year talks, but still giving it Game of the Year.
Yeah, that's the industry.
Yeah. Yes, it is. But anyway, Stoy, what do you say we wrap up this episode? This is a good one.
Yep.
Another one for the books, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Arsenal X. If you joined us live instead of watching the Super Bowl, thank you. I think we had a couple people pop in and out, so thank you for hanging out with us. Rams won, by the way. Spoilers.
Yeah, kind of pulled it off in the fourth quarter. They were down, and then
I'm glad Stafford won a ring.
Yeah, was definitely not getting one at Detroit. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Probably not ever.
Yeah.
So, Stoy, where can we find you?
You can find me on the EXP Cast. We're a video game podcast in the Boss Rush Network as well. You can find me there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXPcast. And then also to my personal Twitter and Instagram at Stoy, MKE8.
You can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast. And you can find me hosting Tower Casuals, a Destiny podcast, and a plethora of other things here on the Boss Rush Network. Catch all of our content on bossrush.net. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave a 5-star review. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.